Ooh, Taurus, welcome to y'all's 2020 retrograde story for the period of whenever you see this. Right now, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto are all retrograde, and so this is focused around that, but the retrogrades end at different times, and so the story may carry on. Also, we're going to be coming into an eclipse season during this retrograde, so the eclipse season could in some ways propagate this out for the next 6 months, depending on how things kind of sort of move and are resolved. Now Pluto is going to be retrograde until like October, and so we're going to have other retrogrades in the mean in between times. But anyway, Taurus, who are y'all fighting for? At the bottom of the deck, before I even start, I have Justice, the Hangman, the Nine of Wands, and the Ace of Pentacles. First I had the Outlaw, which is the Hangman, and then the Nine of Wands came out. And I was like, oh, Taurus, who are you fighting? And then I was like, or who are you fighting for? And then this Ace of Pentacles came out, and I was like, okay, Taurus is fighting for the future. And then the Justice came out, and I was like, okay, so what's going on? Don't get bull gang on it. Shoot. Get a Taurus stuck on it, they'll never get off. High Priestess, I feel like y'all know exactly what it is that y'all are fighting for. But this may not even go in that direction. So, hey Taurus, again, welcome. Now we have this Tower with the High Priestess. Ooh, goodness. I don't know what this energy is about. I'm going to be using the Spirit Keeper's Tarot in space of the Pluto retrograde. I'm going to be using the Wild Unknown Tarot for the Jupiter retrograde, the Pride Tarot for the Venus retrograde, and the Kawaii Tarot for the Saturn retrograde. I will have a timestamp in the description box of when the cards are all out, because it may start a bit later in the video. I'm going to give this one more shuffle, and then I'm going to do what it do. So what I'm going to be doing is shuffling these up, looking for the Hierophant, the Holy See, or the Messenger, because those are the different names that it carries in these decks. And I'm going to basically be centering the deck around that card and pull the top and the bottom as the sort of bounds on this retrograde, with the bottom row being more the subconscious influences, and then the top row being the way that they sort of play out, right? And then I'm also going to pull the card right behind the major to sort of talk about the space that you're currently in, and that in between. Ooh! The World and the Wheel of Fortune at that cut. I'm gonna shuffle this up and start right there. That's beautiful. First card out, the Two of Cups, followed by the Seven of Orbs, which is Taurian energy, followed by the Ten of Cups. Who are y'all fighting for, Taurus? Venus is y'all ruling planet, and she's in Gemini retrograde right now. Lots of stuff is in Gemini right now. Yeah, this is interesting. Taurus, y'all can be like gardeners. And this is the gardener, right? It's almost like once you get your eyes set on something, you're kind of sort of fixed on it. Y'all are a fixed and very stubborn energy. And it's like, you're fighting for what you know will bring you that happiness and fulfillment with the Ten of Cups more than anything. I love that. Again, I'm going to be looking for the Holy See. Who is the Hierophant in this deck? And there he is. And I peeked the card. I peeped the card that came out after him. We had the Seeker and the Initiate that came out together after that Ten of Swords. So that's interesting. I feel like there's this Ten of Swords things that happened, and with the Seeker, either you saw it coming or you learned why it happened that way. What's before this Ten of Swords? That Seven of Cups, the Corruptor. Yeah. Something about it wasn't quite ready, so it had to transform, or you had to transform, and you knew that, but now it's like you're ready for this to kick off. Because you've done the healing with that Archangel of Healing. Maybe. Or maybe you're dealing with a Pisces. No, that's Scorpio energy. Maybe you're dealing with a Scorpio. Or a water sign. Shoot. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Fairly close to the cut. Fairly close to the middle. Okay. So I'm actually going to be keeping, so the Spirit Keeper's Tarot is the only deck I'm going to keep the Hierophant out in. I'm going to put it back in the deck for the other ones just because I love the SKT for anchoring in an energy. I love it for that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. Should be 8 more cards. No, 9 more. 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. With the 10 of Pentacles that's going to be sitting at the bottom of the deck. Because look, you see how I do this? This will be at the bottom, this will be at the top. Card at the bottom of the deck is that 10 of Pentacles. Card at the top of the deck is the 4 of Wands. Taurus. Who are y'all fighting for? Or what is going on? I love this energy. Venus knows. Okay? Left at the bottom of the deck is that Sun card, the Warrior. Okay, I'm gonna go over to Venus next. I'm going over to the Pride Tarot. I always do the SKT first because, again, I love that for anchoring in an energy. So the first cards on the table, I want it to be the anchors, right? We just saw the Queen of Pentacles, which is Capricorn energy. There's the King of Pentacles, which is Taurian energy, fixed earth, right? All of these are all upright decks, by the way. I don't know what that is. Shoot. I don't use this deck that. Like, this is my newest deck, so there are still some cards that I haven't quite gotten used to yet, but I'll give us one more. We'll give it a 3 cut out on the table, and then we'll begin. Let's see. What's starting this off, Taurus? You want to guess? It's the Empress or the Lovers. Oh, it's the 5 of Cups, the King of Swords, and the 6 of Swords. So the 5 of Cups, the King of Swords, and the 6 of Swords. The King of Swords is illustrated to look like, or it's illustrated to be Sir Ian McKellen in this deck, and he is Gandalf in the Lord of the Rings. And so I'm seeing this as that when Gandalf the Grey became Gandalf the White energy, there was this heartbreak, there was this whatever that you needed to get over in the past, something that you needed to grieve and let go. You got over it, boom, you leveled up, and now you're moving on with that 6 of Swords. Easy! Followed by this High Priestess and the Empress. So there's the Empress. She wasn't too far out. There's also the High Priestess again. I'm going to go fairly slow-ish because I know what the Messenger looks like, but I don't want to pass her up. I don't want to pass her up. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. I love the Strength card in this deck. It is so watery. And it has an orca on it. I guess I love orcas. I don't wanna. There she is. That Messenger. I'm gonna close my eyes so I don't see what the card behind her is. With that Moon card, I said Pisces, didn't I? I'm a Pisces with the Taurus Moon, so hey, Taurus Moon and Rising. But this ain't about me, y'all. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Le Hermite. So everything, Uranus is still in your sign right now. So you may be going through some personal transformation. And again, that's what the 5 of Cups and the King of Swords into the 6 of Swords was about, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, I thought I miscounted, but I did not. So this is how it works. Are y'all paying attention? This is the bottom of the deck, right? I put this back in the middle. That's the Messenger. That's the Hierophant in this deck. Put her in the middle. And I put these on top. Yeah, I did that right. Top of the deck, the Knight of Wands. Bottom of the deck should be, yep, that 7 of Swords, so I did it right. And then left under now is the 3 of Wands. Are y'all fighting yourselves? Who y'all fighting for? And look, that Knight of Wands is looking right at that Four of Wands. Like, I will fight and die for this. Ain't nobody dying for nothing, hopefully in real life, but I feel like Taurus is like, did I say Taurus was stealing away? This Seven of Swords came out at the bottom of the deck, so Taurus, y'all doing something, because something ain't working. And you like, you know what? The Seven of Swords in this deck is mostly, it's kind of an energy of sort of setting yourself apart and for kind of sort of hiding. It's a Marine in this deck with the DADT tattoo. The Pride Tarot is all about the LGBTQ plus community, so that's the Pride. But the Don't Ask, Don't Tell, remember? But Don't Ask, Don't Tell was the thing where, like, they didn't ask if you were in the LGBTQ community. You didn't say if you were. Because if you were, then, I don't know, things happen. It was a minute ago, okay? Forgive me. I can't remember exactly. But I know there were a whole bunch of people in the military that couldn't really be out because it was Don't Ask if you are, and don't tell if you are. Alright, we're just going to start. Bottom of the deck is this Eight of Pentacles, the Eight of Cups, and the Ten of Pentacles. What was I about to say? Y'all got, so Taurus, everything in Capricorn is trining y'all. So that Pluto and Capricorn, that Pluto-Saturn conjunction, the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction, and the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction trined y'all. Could have shaken things up, could have gotten you to see all kinds of stuff. Venus was in Taurus for a hot second. Uranus is in Taurus, so that's already getting y'all to kind of sort of shake things up, right? And then it's like with this Eight of Pentacles and with this Eight of Cups, maybe you're sort of realizing things in your life that have not worked for a long time. Through everything that's happening right now, or through the ways that you're just sort of feeling the shifts coming. And I feel like you became really, really good at not masking your misery, but at being comfortable with it. But now with this Eight of Cups, it's like you had all of your emotional baggage kind of sort of like put away fairly neatly on the shelf. And then it's like this earthquake came in, shook everything. It's like you put it in those, what do they call them? Too much stuff, not enough space. Those bags that you put all the stuff in and then you vacuum, suck all the air out in the space bags or whatever. And so you can put a lot of stuff in a little space. And look, there's that Four of Wands. It's like you had all this stuff in those bags. And so that's what helped you kind of sort of put it away neatly. But when it shook, it ruptured the seal. And now everything expanded, exploded out of these bags. And so then you had to go in and look at sort of like how things really weren't working. And now you're wanting to come into this space where everything is just right. It's like, you were able to master the not great stuff, but now you're ready to master the good stuff. I want the good stuff, said that Hierophant. And the Hierophant is actually a crow in this deck with a key, so that's interesting. Oh, there's that warmth again. See, but, ooh, I saw the card behind it, girl. I saw you. I wasn't trying to look. I just saw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 39. These go up top. These come down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 38, not 39. Sorry. So this card comes over here. Now I gotta count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 9, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, 38. So this will be the top of the deck. This comes here. Flip this over. This is the bottom of the deck. So y'all can see how I did that again, just in case. Top of the deck is going to be Temperance. Ooh, bottom of the deck is that Two of Wands that we just saw. And left under that is the Seven of Pentacles, which is Taurian energy. This is all about putting in the time, the energy, and the effort. Just like I said, like Taurus, y'all are the gardeners, right? Here's y'all planting them seeds. And so the last deck, I guess we're going to be leaving Saturn on the end. I guess Capricorn trines y'all, so hey, it makes sense. Whew, after this, I only got Aries. I ended up starting at the bottom of the Zodiac, Taurus, because usually I get like halfway through the Zodiac and then I stop. So I've done Aries through Virgo a few times. I even did Aquarius through Cancer once with the Jupiters. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to start at the end of the Zodiac this time because as a Pisces sun, I can sympathize with the people who got to wait to get their readings then. And also, as a person whose last name starts with the letter W, I can sympathize with the people who got to wait through the rest of the alphabet to get to the last few letters. And it ain't too many X, Y's, or Z's out there. So, I mean, you know, you got your Youngs. And, I mean, I'm not going to say that it's not a lot. But, you know, you still got to wait when you're a W. So, hey, I get it. Let's see. Plastic. These are not shuffling. Someone was like, just go for it then. There we go. Okay, now we're gonna go. Bottom of the deck is the Page of Swords, the Six of Cups, and the High Priestess. This is interesting. Page of Swords, Six of Cups, High Priestess. I feel like this is someone that you have your eye on, or something. It ain't got to be a person. It could be a situation. Something you got your eyes on that you feel a very deep connection to. And with this High Priestess, it's like there's a knowing behind the situation beyond your knowing. And that's what kind of sort of keeps you in whatever space that you're in. Because I guess, because you know, Taurus is y'all ruled by Venus. And the Venus, or the Taurus side of Venus, is all about worth. That's what the second house is, right? And so it's like, it's almost like y'all have an eye or a certain intuition around people, places, situations that are worth your time, worth your energy, worth your effort, that are worth all of that, right? And so sometimes you don't know exactly. And I guess I am extracting from my own experience, because I'm a Pisces sun, Taurus moon and rising, so I got intuitive in me. But I feel like Taurus still, like y'all have an eye. Taurus has an eye for worth. That's why, you know, Taurian energy can be like a very 8 energy, and it's interesting that 8 is like Scorpio in the zodiac, and it opposes y'all because y'all both know what worth is. I feel like Scorpio gets worth on a very deep, sort of like emotional level. And then Taurus sort of gets worth on a more surface level, right? I feel like Scorpio would have to feel it. Sometimes Taurus can just look at it and know that that's worth something. And so there's something that's worth something, and maybe that's why you're kind of sort of not really giving up on it. And with this Page of Swords and this High Priestess, I feel like there's this energy of like, you may not necessarily know why. You may not necessarily know what the worth in this thing is yet, but you know that it's worth something, or it will be worth something. Oh, oops, sorry. I looked at the card, and then, because then y'all is like right at the top of the deck this time. Shoo, like I wasn't even ready. And y'all coming out between the Nine of Cups and the Nine of Pentacles, which is interesting. This is 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. This happened with Gemini twice. Gemini came out on like the 5th card. I was like, what? And it was these last 2 piles too. So this is 4. Make sure. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nice. So that Six of Pentacles is going to be the bottom of the deck. Top of the deck is, oops, the Wheel of Fortune. Bottom of the deck is that Six of Pentacles. Left under that is this Emperor. Okay. Okay. All right. So left at the bottoms of the deck, you have the Emperor, the Three of Wands, the Seven of Pentacles, and the Sun card. So I feel like not only are y'all being like Tory and stubborn, but y'all are also beginning to move. What are you fighting for? That might be the title, shoot. Because I'm like, Taurus, what are y'all fighting for? Well, let me get this. I'm going to take the thumbnail picture and I'm going to get this timestamp before I get into this. Because I don't want to forget. I don't know if y'all heard that or not. Hopefully you didn't. But if you did, that noise just happened. Okay, timestamp is... Oh, that's a little hard for me to see, Taurus. Let me see. Let me do this. There we go. That is kind of sort of worse. Oop. I'm going to adjust this a little bit. Ooh, there we go. Love that. And I can see the time a little better. Actually, no, I can't. So, hey, this is what we're going to do so I can see the time. 21:40. It was like white on white, y'all. It was hard to see. 21:40. All right, Taurus. I'll say 21:50. What are y'all fighting for? Is it a girl? What did we want? A girl worth fighting for. Mulan. What do we want? Okay. So, Saturn is saying, Taurus, you want to get this? What are you willing to give? Taurus, you see this is worth something? See, Taurus can be kind of stubborn and a little bit lazy. Sometimes the bull is just the cow grazing in the grass. Sometimes the bull is charging, right? Use a cow or a bull. Maybe I'll try to use a cow or a bull. A bull is a cow, but you know, are you in general cow mode right now? Or is you in bull mode? But subconsciously, Saturn is putting you in a space of reciprocity, seeking reciprocity. And so maybe you've been in cow mode for a while, Taurus, and Saturn is putting you in bull mode. And it's like, you know, because you know what you want, or you know the space that you want to end up in. And as someone who understands value, I feel like you also have a certain innate understanding of exchange, right? Because if you want something of value, you have to give something of value, right? And so Saturn could be, with the Wheel of Fortune being the conscious, it's like Saturn is making you worthy of claiming everything that you have coming in. So Taurus, if you felt abundance coming in for you, if you feel things kind of sort of shifting and moving in nearly every aspect of your life, and if you've been tested and tried in nearly aspect of your life, or if you've just sort of been like, you know, learning how to harness your sort of bull mode, learning to motivate yourself or to sustain motivation or to at least get stuff done. Sometimes we ain't gonna be motivated, but we still need to get stuff done. I don't know, I just feel like Saturn is like, it's preparing you to do all of that. And then we have this Ten of Swords here. So yeah, sometimes you're not going to be motivated, right? Sometimes you'd rather be doing other stuff, but you got to do what you know you need to do anyway. But I feel like maybe this is you not yet quite receiving what it is that you have coming in. Because I'm looking at this heart right here and then this heart in here, right? And it's like in the Six of Pentacles, the heart isn't broken, but in the Ten of Swords, it is. And so maybe there are still things that you're learning to let go of. Maybe there are still ways that you're being worked on to claim this. And, you know, we have a 10. We have a wheel and this wheel, and also a wheel over here. That's shaped like a wheel. The Four of Wands in this deck is shaped like a wheel. Excuse me. But the Wheel of Fortune is a 10, and this Ten of Swords is a 10, of course. And the 10 is all about completing cycles, to come into new cycles. The 9 is more so like just straight up completion, like putting something to bed, like reaching the end of the journey. But the 10 is like, it's in some ways it can be that doorway in between, or that space in between the old cycle and the new cycle. Or it can be mostly on that new cycle side, or it can be mostly on that old cycle side, but closing it up, right? 10 is all about cycles. And the 1 and the 0, right? If 0 is the womb, if 0 is the null space, if 0 is the canvas, then the 1 and the canvas is all about the first time your pen touches the paper, the first time your brush touches the canvas. It's the first step, it's the first. But this is the first after a cycle, right? So it's not like the number 1 first, but it's like after you close that chapter, what's the first thing that you do? Like if you won the lottery tomorrow, what would be the first thing that you buy, right? Like it's that type of energy. This isn't like, I'm the leader, I'm paving the way, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And you can be doing that, but this is like, if you entered a brand new cycle, if you closed this last cycle, what would be the first thing that you do? So in that sense, 10 is almost the space of dreams. Because it's like, when you're wishing and hoping and dreaming and praying for something, it's like, okay, but, what would be the first thing that you do when you get to that new place? Or what would be the first thing you do when you get with that person? Or what would be the first thing that you buy when you get your first paycheck working that job? Or what would be sort of like the first thing that you do in that job, And 6 is all about harmony. So we have harmony and we have cycles here. Right? I feel like this speaks a lot to Libran energy, which is the masculine side of Venus. Y'all, it's the feminine side. Libra is the masculine side. And I feel, because, it is harmony. And also Libra is cardinal. And so, yeah, maybe this is about you sort of going after the things that you want, right? Because it's like, like typically if you see cows, right, grass is everywhere. And so they don't too much necessarily have to worry about like going after their food or doing that. I don't know if I've ever seen a cow move too quickly anywhere besides the running of the bulls, or in the arena with the matadors, or at the rodeo. But out in the wild, it ain't like I see herds of cows just naturally like running somewhere, right? But I feel like Saturn is like asking you, what are you willing to do to get it? What are you fighting for? What are you willing to fight for? And if you see everything that you want, would you fight for it or would you let it go? And I think it's going to be really, really... And the Emperor is over here. Again, the Emperor is at the bottom of the deck, so definitely time for y'all to take action. And maybe to be a little bit more wise, right? I feel like the energy of the Emperor can be someone who works smarter and not necessarily harder, right? And that's perfect for Taurian energy because, I think oxes can be beasts of burden. But it's like, if you work smarter, you ain't got to work as hard. Maybe it's just me. But yeah, Saturn is asking you, like, what are you willing to do to get it? And then we come over here to Jupiter, and, like, this is Jupiter right here. The Wheel of Fortune is, ruled by Jupiter. This is Gemini. This is Taurus. This is your energy here. And then you have Jupiter expanding upon your energy. It's almost like, you've had this Two of Pentacles. It's almost like you've had this Two of Pentacles sort of give and take. And now it's like with Jupiter, or with everything that's been happening, it's getting you to open up and expand, where you can sort of give and receive more instead of just those two, right? And that's what this Wheel of Fortune is. It's expanding sort of your territory. It's expanding the field, but there's all... Saturn is like, we're not going to put you in a bigger field, Taurus, if you only graze in the same spot all the time, right? Because, like, if that's the case, you could live in a little box if you're only going to eat in the same spot. And, cows pretty much poop where they eat, right? So it's like, you got the dinner table and the bathroom right there. What more do you need? But Jupiter is... And again, it's interesting. Because Saturn is like, what are you willing to do for what you want? And now Jupiter is like, okay, so it's time for you to make a decision and to go after it. And I feel like subconsciously, it's like subconsciously you're in this space where you need to make a decision and you need to stick with it and go with it and grow with it. Even if, because these two are parallel, right? And so these two don't intersect or touch for as far as we can see. So even if, like, this never fully comes into your experience, or even when this isn't in your experience, but with that high priestess, it's like, you saw it. So it's almost like Jupiter is asking us to put in the work without the immediate payoff and without the immediate payback. And then, so consciously, it's like, there's this sort of temperance energy maybe where I feel like this is you trying not to burn out in some way, trying not to get too attached to something, and almost sort of trying not to care about it so much. And it's not that caring about it is bad, but I feel like there's a lot of sort of like, with these 10 swords and with this Wheel of Fortune and with this expansion, it may be that like several things are kind of sort of calling your attention right now. And so maybe you can't really afford to give too much to any one thing right now because you're sort of like taking care of everything in a sense. At the bottom of this deck, we have the Seven of Pentacles, right? And like I said, like you're the gardener, so you can't have these 7 different, like if you have these 7 different seeds, you have to care for each and every one of them if you want them to grow. Like you can't plant all of these, focus on this one, only care about this one, and expect the other 6 to continue to grow. It's like, no, you have to be able to spread out, to spread yourself. And it's not to spread yourself thin, but you have to cover all your bases because all of your eggs are not in one basket. Cue the farm metaphors. E-I-E-I-O. And then we're sitting at this 10 of Cups. I love it. I love it. 10 of Swords, 10 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles right here. There are some signs that are getting like, it was either Leo or Virgo. I think Virgo got a bunch of 6s. I think Leo got a bunch of 3s. And now here's Taurus with all the 10s, and then another 10 in the Wheel of Fortune. So you got the major 10 and the small 10s. Plus, you got this other wheel looking thing in this one. You see how that 4 of Wands looks like a wheel? Excuse me. So yeah, with the 10 of Cups, this is like Uno. This is Uno! And 10 is a 1. Somebody's like, this is kind of sort of like using numerology to cheat in Uno. It's not cheating, because you can't cheat, but it's almost like using a numerology hack to win the game even quicker. Because you're like, well, 10 reduces to a 1, so Uno, 1 card, and it's almost like you're playing multiple cards at once. And so there's almost this energy of like, I know in the I Ching, I can't remember what number it is, but there's one of the I Ching that's like, if you can put off instant gratification for now, if you can do things a little bit slower now, it will pay off even more than the individual dividends in the future. When your season of reaping comes, you will be able to reap even more if you're able to go through this period of delayed satisfaction right now. And that's what this Temperance card from Jupiter is asking you to do. Because I feel like there's almost this space of preparation here. With this 10 of Swords and this 10 of Cups, with the 10 of Pentacles down here, with this Wheel of Fortune right here, with Temperance, the Emperor, the Warrior, and that 7 of Pentacles, especially that 7 of Pentacles, the Gardener, but with the Emperor and the Warrior in the Sun, it's like there's a space of preparation, and it's like your whole life is subject and liable to change. Your whole life is subject to change. And so you're going to have to be the best you in many different aspects of your life. And you're going to be asked to be the best you under many different circumstances. And it's almost this energy of like, it's not that you'll never be able to mess up, but it's like, one bad day, one misspoken word, one moment of hesitation or stubbornness could be enough to throw this whole thing off the tracks. And so that's why this 10 of Swords is here with this preparation from Saturn. It's like, this is equal give and take. So if you want all of this 10 of or if you want all this Wheel of Fortune sort of movement and abundance, you have to be able to give to it. This is give and take. What are you going to give to receive this? And then the Temperance card is right here, putting us in this space of like learning to be more patient, maybe learning to hone this fire, right? Because it's like, how often do they do the running of the bulls? Like, not that often. It ain't like they do the running of the bulls every day, right? It's like more often than not, like when the bull isn't in the rodeo or doing the running of the bulls thing, it's probably out chilling in the grass, just eating. And it's like you need to learn how to hone that fire, and you need to learn how to keep that fire. But you also need to learn balance in many, many, many areas of life. You need to learn how to divide your attention. Because I feel like there are going to be many, many, many different demands on it. And you're going to be asked to kind of sort of pour into all of it at the same time. Right? It's like in this card, they're pouring all the red, all the orange, all the yellow, all the green, and all the blue. I think it may actually be, yeah, green and blue. Right? Into all these cups at once. And so it's not like, okay, we're going to do all the reds, and then we're going to do all the oranges, and then we're going to do all the yellows. And it's not like, okay, we'll fill this cup with all the colors, and then we'll fill this cup with all the colors. It's like, no, all of this is happening at once. And I feel like that speaks to the groundedness you're going to need to be able to maintain. Like, Taurus, like, you are a premier, prime grounded energy, right? But it's time to be grounded in a different sense. And you're going to be grounded in your expansion. And it's like the more grounded you can be while this is happening, the more you'll expand. And it's almost like the limit of your expansion will be the limit of your centeredness. And so things may be coming in very, very slow right now, even though Saturn is bringing this Wheel of Fortune. But like Saturn ran all the way to Aquarius. So if Saturn is bringing it in from Aquarius, and that's the future. So maybe Saturn is bringing the future to you from Aquarius, right? But it's like if Saturn is running all the way from Aquarius to meet up with Jupiter again in Capricorn, it's going to take a minute. And both of them are going to be getting close enough to Pluto to call that another conjunction. So, hey. Now we move over here to Venus. Oh, I almost flipped the card. So Venus is asking us to remove ourselves from situations that no longer serve us. And she's also asking us to sort of take our power back from other people. And all of that is happening subconsciously. And then consciously, we sort of have this Knight of Wands energy up here, which is all about compassion. And so, since this is swords, in the card they talk about like how, you know, like he's taken all of the swords from the Marines so that they can't hurt him. But if they encounter anybody on the open seas, they won't be able to defend themselves, right? And so I feel like, you know, you're taking away other people's ability to hurt you. But at the same time you're doing that, you are also remaining compassionate with this Knight of Wands. Right? And so I feel like this is also an element of temperance, because a lot of times when we enter a space of taking away someone else's ability to hurt us, we kind of sort of get cold, we get detached, we get distant. A lot of people achieve that through distance, and you're being asked to still be present, but to be unaffected, unbothered. Sun card, you're being asked to be authentically you. And I feel like it's interesting because maybe as a Taurus, or maybe not, just as a person in general, we can get caught up in what other people sort of think of us. But it's almost like, you know, maybe you think you have to be a certain way in order to be accepted. Maybe you're trying to portray a certain thing. I feel like one of the dangers of Taurus could potentially be, and maybe it's not necessarily Taurus, it's the danger of stuff. One of the dangers of stuff is having your things define you, right? It's like, you know, the house that you live in, the clothes that you wear, the car that you drive, even the job that you have, they all become definers of you. So if you lose the house, the car, the clothes, the job, are you still you? Are you putting on all of that so people don't see the actual you? Is all of that supposed to be some kind of metric for what you're actually worth? And if that's the case, then that is what needs to be transformed. Because the Knight of Wands in this deck is compassionate, and she's a voice for the people who don't have a voice. She uses her light to make other people feel loved and accepted and welcome. And so again, this is an interesting balance, and temperance may be a big thing. This is an interesting balance because it's like you shouldn't care so much what people think of you that, you start to question your own sense of self-worth, but at the same time, you shouldn't be so detached that you can't be compassionate. And maybe the key to this is being compassionate with yourself first and foremost, and loving yourself first and foremost. And that does sound like a lesson that Venus would be teaching us. And then we have this Pride card. This Pride card has come out for a few signs. This is every single area in life. Wheel of Fortune, every single area in life getting blessed. 10 of Cups, fulfillment in every single area of life. Look at those colors. Look at these colors. I told y'all it's happening all at once. But Venus is asking us to be ready all at once at the same time. That's life, healing, sunlight, nature, serenity, and spirit. It all needs to be balanced with this Temperance card. So yeah, excuse me, it is almost like, with that Emperor card up there, it is almost like, Taurus, y'all may be picking up some Libran qualities. Maybe tapping a little bit more into the masculine side of Venus. Maybe tapping a little bit more into your masculine side, right? Being the bull and not the... What's the female cow? Is it a cow? Because I know a female whale is a cow, right? And the male whale is a bull? Cows and bulls? Or is it something different? Let me ask handy dandy Siri. Hey Siri, what is a female cow called?
Here's an answer from enchantedlearning.com. The adult female is called a cow.
Yeah, it's just a cow. Hey Siri, what is a male cow called?
Okay, I found this on the web for what is a male cow called. Check it out.
Bulls, steers, that's another one, right? So yeah, are they just cows? That's kind of boring. Because then it's like, Oh. So yeah, bulls and cows. So a bull is intact. And so a steer may not be. I.e. not castrated. Okay. That's kind of... I don't know how I feel about that. Because, is that the only animal that happens in? What's a female cat called? I know the males are called times. Hey Siri, what is a female cat called?
One moment. Some popular cat names include Oliver, Loki, Milo, Symbol, Luna, Mia, Bella, and Chloe.
Chloe! Not popular cat names. Loki. Loki is a popular cat name. We got tricksters up in here. Okay. It doesn't matter. Ultimately, at the end of the day, Taurus, it doesn't matter what you call it. It is what it is. Right? And I think I try to turn everything into something, right? And so I think that kind of sort of speaks to this, right? Because it's like, no matter what name you go by, no matter what you call what you do, no matter what title you're operating under, no matter what hat you're wearing, you should always be you, right? And that's one of the beautiful things about fixed energy, is that fixed energy has the ability to go into any space and to always be who they are and to not be changed by that space, right? That's one of the strengths that you have. And so I feel like this is for you to be so in touch and in tune with yourself. Again, it's like making yourself This is like keeping yourself from being in a space where you can be easily affected by others. But it's almost like the way that that's coming about is through you showing compassion. This is so interesting. This is the only space where I'm feeling like a little bit of a larger disconnect between the subconscious space and the conscious space. But maybe it's because you're acting on subconscious desire, or with this will coming out first. It's like with the high priestess that showed itself a few times, and with Taurus, like I said, it's like, you know, you can look at something and tell what it's worth. And so you may not know why something is worth what it's worth, but you know that it's like, you know when something is worth a lot. And so there's almost this space of like you transforming to be that. And so over here, it's like you becoming more kind and caring and compassionate. Maybe softening up a little bit. Maybe being a fertile ground that sort of, or it's almost like you're becoming a shelter for other people. Like your stability is expanding to incorporate the woes of others. But at the same time, it's not for you to be consumed by them, right? And so that's why you're still Taurus and not Libra, because Libra can be a martyr energy sometimes. It's like you're never, it's not to be a martyr, but it is to care. And Taurus can be really kind of sort of self-centered too, high key. Right, it's the feminine side of Venus. It's like, it's what I want, it's all about what I want, and I get what I want. And if you're not giving me what I want, then you are no use to me. And it's not that Tauruses use people, but, you know, if they don't have anything to offer you, then it's like, why are you around? Or if there's nothing that, like, if they don't add benefit to you, it's kind of like a Capricornian energy. If they don't add benefit to you, then it's like, you know, why are you there? Then coming over to Pluto, Pluto is bringing the wealth. And Pluto does rule wealth because it's the underworld. That's where all the gold and the silver and the diamonds and the oil, that's where all that stuff lives. And so Pluto is bringing us this knowledge and this understanding. But also, in this card, there's a night and a day, right? Rome wasn't built in a day. This is also the tree of life. So maybe bringing us into a little bit of a space of an understanding of who we are. This is the dynasty. So maybe this is an unlocking of an ancestral wealth. What energy isn't on the board? We have everything. Swords, pentacles, cups, and wands. Lots of swords, honestly. We got 10 of swords, 7 of swords, 6 of pentacles, 10 of cups, 2 of wands, 9 of wands. Oh, 4 wands. We got some more wands. Not that many pennies. Well, 4, 6, 7 wands, 6 pennies, 10 cups, 10 more pennies. I forgot about these 10 pennies over here. Okay. Yeah, so everything is here. That's the balance here. And that's what it's teaching you. It's teaching you again how to hone that fire. Now, Pluto, again, is almost bringing, it's like, so Saturn, everything has been in Capricorn for a minute. So there's almost like this conversation that Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto were all having. Mercury was there for a part of it. Mars was also in Capricorn for a part of it, and it's in Pisces now. So it's almost like when everything was in Capricorn, it got its directives. And Capricorn is the foundation that this wealth is built upon. And Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And Saturn's like putting us in the space to close everything that we need to close to get ready for this. It's almost like with the 6 of Pentacles, Saturn is making us worthy of this abundance coming in. And Jupiter is also participating. And Venus is participating in her way to make sure that it's not something that we piddle away, but also to make sure that, you know, it's something that we continue to build upon and work with. That we're not just going to get it and then run off with it and not do whatever it's supposed to be used for. And so again, it's almost like with all of those conversations in Capricorn, now everything is heading back to Pluto. It's almost like Pluto, like everything conjuncted Pluto the first time. Pluto gave them their directives, and then they moved forward and they did whatever they were supposed to do in that time. And now it's like everything is retrograde going back to Pluto. Jupiter is going back to Pluto. Saturn's going back to Pluto. And it's almost like maybe they're going to be updating Pluto on your status, and then Pluto will then decide, okay, they've done enough to deserve this, or maybe they need some more work. And so I don't know when those conjunctions are going to happen, between Jupiter and Pluto again, and between Saturn and Pluto again. Excuse me. I don't know when those are going to happen. I don't even know how close Saturn is going to get to Pluto, but I know it's going to be back in Capricorn, and Pluto is already like 24 degrees. So it's basically, they're still within 10 degrees, so it's still a loose conjunction. So it's going to be getting tighter regardless, right? But yeah. And so it's like, I feel like this is us maybe making, because this is like a minor Wheel of Fortune. So if we can get into the energy of appreciating what we have now, but not getting so complacent in it that we don't move, I feel like that's going to be a very beautiful space for getting this to keep moving forward. Now we're sitting at this Ace of Cups. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I love this energy. We got the Ten of Cups and the Ace of Cups. Did not literally tell. I told y'all somebody is using numerology to call Uno, and here's the Ace of Cups. Uno. Hey, I love it. Taurus, there is so much abundance coming in for y'all. But it's like, there's also this energy of like, maybe with this Seven of Swords, it's about appreciating the grass on your side of the fence. Appreciating it's knowing that, the grass isn't always greener. And even if the grass is greener on the other side of the fence, you know what that means? That means that, you just need to tend to your own grass more. And that's what the Seven of Pentacles is about. Instead of just going to the other side of the fence and abandoning what you have, it's all about working on what you have, continuing to grow it, build it out, continuing to sort of like pick up all these skills. And then you'll kind of sort of, when the moment comes, you'll know what to use them for. And so here we have this Ace of Cups when I was talking about appreciation with that Four of Wands. That could be love. I ain't said that to a lot of people, but it could be. You got the Four of Wands and the Ace of Cups, okay? With the dynasty. So this could be, in order for you to create this legacy, you needed to be ready. And you don't necessarily have to be ready. Oh, because the Emperor is out. The Emperor is out and the Sun is out in the space of the Warrior. So it's like, with this Temperance, when it comes to building something, there are going to be highs and there are going to be lows. And you're going to need the stick-to-itiveness to get through all of it. Whatever you're manifesting with that Three of Wands, you're going to need the stick-to-itiveness to get all of it. Right? And maybe that's what this space of like delayed gratification or delayed satisfaction is about versus instant gratification. So what are you fighting for? I feel like all of this is teaching you how to fight. Even when you don't know who your enemy is, even if you don't see yourself making any progress, even if you feel like you're making a lot of lateral moves instead of making forward moves, your ability to maintain this fire is going to be so key and so crucial in order for you to reach the height of all that is available to you. Because again, Saturn is telling you with this Six of Pentacles down here that if you're not working for it, you're not going to get it. Six of Pentacles is equal give and take. So whatever you're going to be given, you have to give equally. Whatever you're going to be taking, you need to give equally. And this doesn't necessarily have to be a dollar for a dollar, a tick for tat type of give and take. But it's like, energetically, what are you going to be willing to give and how are you going to show up for it? Also, it's like, how strongly will you be able to stand in this? I'm not necessarily seeing challenges here, but It's like you need to learn how to be steadfast and strong. Because there are highs and lows to everything. 10, 10, 10, 10. It speaks to cycles. And you're not always going to be at the top of the wheel. But just because, things dip doesn't mean that you sort of bail out or that you pull out, right? There are some times when it's worth sticking to something for the long haul, because you can always have a change of fortune. And it reminds me of this time one of my friends started up. It was a group called Oracle, which was interesting. But it was an LLC at Purdue. He was one of the founding members of Oracle or whatever. And they had some stock in something, and something happened and it started to plummet, and everybody else was freaking out. And my friend was like, we shouldn't sell, we should keep it. And everybody else kept freaking out. So he gave up on his point, and he was like, you know what? Because he got frustrated. He was like, you know what? Let's sell it. Fine. Boom. Whatever. So they ended up selling it, and then not too long after that, it bounced back. Right? And he knew it would bounce back, but he didn't want to be the only person. Oh, I mean, I don't want to say he didn't want to stand his ground, but, he got more frustrated at other people, and so he just gave in. And because he gave in, they lost out. And sometimes, especially Taurus, with you being that grounded, centered energy, it's almost like, putting it, like, with this Knight of Wands, there may be some times where you're the only one fighting. And it's not for you to get discouraged, and it's not for you to give up, but it's for you to be able to stick to what you know, and to also comfort and ease the minds and worries of those who are more affected. And I feel like there's a certain amount of trust that you're going to have. And that trust is only going to improve as you continue to do things like that, right? So, very beautiful things coming for you, Taurus. I hope you found this useful and or helpful. I hope it resonates. I ain't never asked nobody for no like. I've never asked for a like, seriously. But I almost said leave me a like, Taurus. Maybe I've been watching too many videos. I hope y'all have whatever time y'all want to have in this coming time. And I hope y'all step up to the plate, because Taurus is looking like ain't none of this gonna happen if y'all don't step up to the plate. So, hey, it's time to run, bull. Pretend like we're in Madrid for a second and do that thing.